Chapter 17. As Seer stared down at Kaci lying on the healing bed, his heart constricted painfully in his chest. He'd lost her trust because of Gallant, that was evident, but even worse, she was afraid of him because he'd started to shift. What should have been amazing, the highlight of his existence, was now tainted. Only the lowliest of males scare females. It is no excuse that my vision has been distracting me, that I keep feeling as if it will come true at any moment, and all will be lost. Yet I don't know what action to take. There is no excuse. None. He wanted to hang his head in shame, but instead, he spoke calmly. I'm going to go back into your mind now to make certain I've eradicated the virus and to continue removing the incorrect connections. She didn't look at him, her expression morose.
Okay.
He moved to stand just above her head, plunging his hands into the golden particles to bring up the control panel. With a slight movement, he started the medicine to sedate her. He stared one last time into her clear blue irises before her eyes fluttered shut. At least she still trusts me this much. Taking a deep breath, he began to search her mind for the virus. And froze in shock. It's still present. He couldn't believe it. It rarely happened with Ungar females. But even worse, it was growing again at an incredible speed. This is impossible. He'd found no traces of it the day before. He searched his brain, trying to recall a single instance of a similar case. But in all his medical experience, he couldn't remember one. I'll have to contract Elder Medic Steady. In fact, requested all her data to be automatically streamed to the Elder Medic immediately. Hopefully, he will be able to explain what I'm seeing. Again, he administered the cure. Tiny sparks of silver sprang to life within the golden light. Perhaps human females simply need 2 doses. He prayed that was all. Next, he started to search for incorrect connections in her mind. To his surprise, there were new ones, and some older ones had been reinforced. What in the pregnant mother? He severed some of the weaker connections, but as he dove farther, he saw something that gave him a tightness in his chest. The virus was fighting back. There were so many new connections, more than he ever imagined. And some of them were so deeply ingrained in the workings of her mind that to sever them would cause irreparable harm. I can't cure her. At first, his mind was unable to accept it, but as he examined her brain from different angles, he realized it to be the absolute truth. I can help her, but she'll never be the way she was before we infected her. Ripping his hands out of the controls, he stumbled back from the table. In medical training, he'd always been at the top of his class. He was entirely focused on healing the sick, saving the unsavable. But when he lost a patient, a dark cloud seemed to fall over him, wiping out the colors of the world. It was why he'd chosen to serve as a medic in the war. He thought it would help to eliminate his weakness, his inability to handle defeat, death. But he'd been wrong, although he never admitted it to anyone but himself. For him, the war had been one day after another of witnessing things that bled the life from him as surely as it did so many of his patients. When he got out, he dove into research. It was a safe place he could help, where he wouldn't lose anyone. Curing Kaci had reminded him of how much he missed working with patients. Now, he remembered why he'd stopped. Again, he had failed. Not only himself, but the female who needed him so badly. I will do what I can for her. That is all I can do. With a heavy weight on his shoulders, he stepped back to the table and placed his hands back into the nanobots. He meticulously explored her brain, cutting each incorrect connection he could. He didn't stop for hours until his eyes were bleary and he realized he had to rest. Then he paused, staring at the many, many connections that would remain. When he finally pulled away from her, his legs trembled with exhaustion. Many hours had passed. A buzz sounded behind him. The biological weapons in case we need to use them against the Bortrax. I just can't deal with them right now. Going to his room, exhaustion narrowed his focus until he saw nothing around him. Instead, he poured himself a drink. Then another, and another. When his vision started to blur, he set his drink down and took 2 steps toward his bed. That's when his comp buzzed. Even though the ground felt uneven beneath his feet, he stumbled to the desk in his suite and activated it. His friend, Leader, appeared in the 3D image. For a moment, his chest tightened. Here I am getting drunk and feeling sorry for myself when my vision...
Seer, You do not look good. Are you all right?
His friend's calmness made his muscles unclench. If there was a reason to worry, Leader wouldn't be concerned about the way I look. I am fine, he interrupted. What do you need? He grinned.
I wanted to let you know that a Spiritus ship has been spotted on the other side of the wormhole, so we are headed back.
Seer blinked slowly. A Spiritus ship?
Yes.
Leader answered slowly, frowning.
Parsimon has come to deal with the Bortrak mothership. Soon they will be gone, and all the females will be safe. See, I told you all would be fine, that you could trust in me.
So I have betrayed my friend, and I was wrong. It is a relief to know that my vision was wrong. That the females are safe, that Kaci is safe, but the repercussions of my decision will be immense. Leader continued.
The females should be with their new males before 7 days has passed.
He paused again, brows wrinkling.
Are you drunk?
I cannot deal with this either right now. The Bortraks will be defeated, and the females will return to their males. Kaci will be given to Parsimon. Everything is fine. Who wouldn't be happy with such good news? But I need to say goodnight now.
Seer.
He ended the communication with a wave of his hand. Tomorrow he would tell his friend what he had done. Tomorrow he would admit that he contacted the council and told them about the unsanctioned abduction of the human females. And that, in all likelihood, the council would intercept before they ever reached Ungar. Take the females. And all men on board would be punished, severely. That all of them would probably lose their mates. Because of me, but at least they won't be taken by the Bortraks, and their planet will be safe. He collapsed into bed, his thoughts slowing down. Tomorrow he would face the truth, that he had done all he could to help Kaci, that he would soon lose her, and that he had betrayed every male on the ship, but not tonight. Tonight, he would sleep.